Hello everyone, and welcome to my The Bold Fans channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Spoilers for BNB. Will Taylor be shot? Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful indicate that someone is going to be harmed, and it's quite likely that Taylor Hayes will be the victim. This is due to the fact that Sheila Carter will eventually discover that Taylor has been having an affair with Deacon Sharp. Will Taylor be shot? You can be sure Sheila will take action when she finds out. According to some BNB spoilers, Sheila will do what she always does best: pull the trigger on her adversary. Who is to say she wouldn't do it again after what she did to Steffy Forrester? Fans of The Bold and the Beautiful obviously had a lot to say about the possible direction of this plot. Sheila will get revenge and will probably be sneaky about it. Some commenters even said she had previously told Lee that she would murder her. Not soapy enough, but I still want Sheila to report Taylor to every ethics board instead of physically assaulting her. Another show fan commented, Sheila has definitely been quiet to Deacon that she saw their first flirtatious interaction at the beginning of this. What will Sheila do next? This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I wish that Taylor would take her achy-breaky heart and go back to Europe, was another comment. If the shrink loses that image of herself as the greatest shrink who ever lived, Taylor's pain would last a lot longer and be more intense. We couldn't have put it better. I really don't care for the character or RB in this role. It remains to be seen if Sheila will actually kill someone. However, it's highly likely that she will do it again given how she has done it in the past. Stay tuned for more. Fans of BNB naturally had a lot to say about the possible future direction of this plot. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy asks Grandpa to leave Katie and presses Eric for Forrester's return? According to spoilers on The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy Forrester Finnegan might ask Eric Forrester to switch fashion firms. Will Eric heed to Steffy's pleas for her grandfather to return to Forrester Creations? When Ridge Forrester and the others surprised Eric with a retirement party, he felt excluded from his own company. Eric was prepared to go with another collection at Forrester, so it was a devastating blow. Ridge eventually felt bad about his handling of the situation, of course. As a result, Ridge insisted that if Eric truly wanted to return to the organization, he should. Eric declined that offer though, and is currently the lead designer for Katie Logan Spencer. Soon, Ridge and Brooke Logan Forrester will undoubtedly react angrily to the news. Steffy will undoubtedly respond angrily as well, but she might primarily blame Katie for exploiting the circumstance. Steffy might pretend that Katie took advantage of Eric when he was having trouble adjusting to retirement. Fans of BNB are aware that this is not what transpired, but Steffy might still try to make up for Katie's betrayal. Steffy used to worry about Eric's health if he continued to work, but now that he is fully committed to Logan, she might change her mind. Maybe Steffy will acknowledge that Eric still longs for a sense of purpose, and express regret for not appreciating its significance in the past. Steffy might reassure Eric that Forrester Creations still needs him and acknowledge that she saw the drawings he was going to show Ridge prior to the commotion surrounding the retirement party. Perhaps Steffy will encourage Eric to see that he still has a position in the family business, and that he belongs with the Forresters. The concept of Eric assisting Katie in launching Logan, and having his ideas flourish in a different fashion house would not sit well with Steffy. Eric won't be persuaded to change his mind, even though Steffy will undoubtedly emphasize the family aspect and remind him of what he created at Forrester Creations with Stephanie Forrester. Eric will not back down from his commitment to assist Katie as her lead designer for this first collection. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy could have to concede when it comes to allowing Eric to work for the enemy. BNB Spoilers Weekly Update. Eric swore. Will's reunion and Sheila tricked. Spoilers for the week of January 19, 2026, have been released for The Bold and the Beautiful. Fans can anticipate a meeting between Will Spencer and RJ Forrester. Sheila Carter Sharp has been duped. Eric Forrester also declares war. Sheila Carter Sharp tricked. Let's begin with Sheila. Fans are aware that Sheila was upset when Deacon Sharp abandoned her. Taylor Hayes began providing Deacon with treatment. Deacon hasn't stopped growing closer to his therapist, even though he did get back together with Sheila. Sheila is currently unaware that Deacon and Taylor engage in intimate treatment sessions. Regretfully, John Finnegan makes an effort to stay away from his mother, who continues to believe that Taylor is a saint. Others begin learning about Taylor's secret romance a little later in the week. However, everyone keeps Deacon's secret from Sheila rather than telling her the truth. Fans of John Finnegan's avoidance are aware that Steffi informed Finn about Taylor and Deacon's romance. It didn't make sense, the doctor said. But he also volunteered to talk to Deacon. Deacon isn't present when Finn arrives at the restaurant. Sheila and Finn discuss the therapy while Deacon strokes Taylor's hair. Shiles is adamant that Taylor kept her marriage together. According to teasers for next week's War, the bold and the beautiful Eric Forrester has decided to retire from Forrester Creations, and Finn will attempt to avoid Sheila later in the week. But it was thrust upon him. The man did not intend to retire by himself. Eric will support Katie Logan Spencer in her new endeavor. The man consented to serve as Katie's principal designer. Eric has requested that Katie and Donna Logan Forrester keep it quiet for the time being, though. Donna believes Brooke should know the truth, even though Katie has decided to be silent. Dylan's repayment. Dylan is another. The girl wants to pay Will back because she is so appreciative to him. Will later confronts RJ once more. The two may talk about Luna Nozawa. RJ was devastated by Luna's transgressions when he was last seen. For the time being, the two should get along, but their affections for Elektra can make that ceasefire difficult. It must end before it's too late. A preview indicates that several people may be at danger. First of all, Sheila is still happy that she and Deacon are getting back on track in their marriage. She tells Finn, "I still have a husband because of Taylor Rebecca Budig." However, Taylor has spent their therapy sessions falling in love with Deacon, while counseling him to improve his relationship with Sheila. Steffi, her daughter, is unhappy about this. Steffi warns, "Hope something is brewing and it needs to end." Making a stand, Will was pleased to act as Dylan's savior and extend an invitation for him to remain in the guest room above his garage. Before it's too late. Elektra, his girlfriend, seems a little hesitant to let her old buddy to become too close, and it appears that she could have been correct. Dylan tells Will, "I want to repay your kindness. However I can." Despite her seeming innocence and sweetness, is Dylan becoming as dangerously enamored with Will as Luna once was? Katie intended to keep the news of Eric being Logan's new lead designer a secret until they were prepared to make the big announcement, but she didn't get her wish. As soon as the agreement was made, the secret was essentially revealed. The patriarch is adamant that everyone understands that Eric made this decision, even though the Forresters may accuse Katie of trying to steal him by getting him to come out of retirement to assist in starting her new design firm. As Katie watches, he yells at Donna, "Respect your elders." And that's what Ridge and Brooke are going to learn. What is the B&B conspiracy behind the rivalry between Will and RJ? Will Spencer and RJ Forrester's animosity will intensify as a result of their common interest in Elektra Forrester, fashion wars, and opposing fathers. The competition between Will Spencer and RJ Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful is set to intensify. It's the younger generation involved in the continuous conflict between their fathers, Bill Spencer and Ridge Forrester. Now that RJ, the two are probably going to argue, is back in town and may be employed at Forrester Creations. Let's reveal the truth about their enmity. Key takeaways. The introduction of Katie, the new fashion house, will ignite their competition. The families are at odds as a result with RJ. Will is under pressure to back his mother's business while safeguarding the Forrester legacy. Will is presently dating Elektra Forrester, but a soap opera love triangle began when RJ returned to Los Angeles and flames flew between him and Elektra. RJ wants to continue being the Forrester golden boy, but Will is tired of working for their corporation. The Luna Nozawa trauma. Luna Nozawa was a murderer with delusions and dubious decisions. RJ was in love with Luna prior to the emergence of her dark side. Will was affected by Luna's actions during the peak of 2025. She victimized him after getting him intoxicated. Will was upset about RJ's previous connection to Luna. How could he have missed the fact that she was insane? She wreaked havoc on the Spencer family, causing lasting severe injuries. Fashion wars between the Spencers and the Forresters. The Spencers and the Forresters are currently engaged in a fashion war. Logan, Katie's new fashion house, is a rival to Forrester Creations. She made use of the Logan trademark, which was made accessible more than a year ago after it expired under the FC umbrella. RJ used to collaborate on designs with Eric, his grandfather. Will is an outsider despite working at Forrester because he has no interest in fashion and no design expertise. He is therefore under pressure to support his father's Spencer name and his mother's business. Potential romantic rivalry between Elektra and RJ despite having the same name. It has been stated that they are not biologically related. They haven't even met. They are able to seek a love connection as a result. As soon as RJ returned to Los Angeles, he developed feelings for Elektra, which could lead to conflict with Will, who is in a committed relationship with her. Dylan might, however, establish a quad triangle in which the two men's acts are motivated by envy and impetuous wants. Will and RJ conflict between different personalities. RJ was always regarded as the family's golden boy. He traveled the world and came home. Will, on the other hand, shares his father's ambition and self-assurance. He believes that RJ's entitlement at Forrester Creations is unfair. This coming week, the competition will intensify as their separate families clash over their competing fashion firms. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy Forrester's startling double standard. Why did Dylan get a job while Deke was fired? Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful let viewers face an awkward topic that the show itself appears ready to ignore. Is Steffy Forrester Finnegan acting blatantly unfairly when it comes to who should work at Forrester Creations? More significantly, why was Dylan abruptly welcomed with open arms and a possible salary while Deke Sharp was sacked for being unnecessary? Steffy's activities appear to be sensible, caring, and encouraging at first glance. However, upon closer inspection, the reasoning entirely collapses. The figures don't add up. The justifications run counter to one another. Whether on purpose or not, the message being conveyed is that convenience, connections, and plot placement are more important than merit. Let's face it. How is there now space in the budget for Dylan if Forrester Creations really couldn't afford to retain Deke Sharp? Deke Sharp, trained, talented, and thrown away before delving into Dylan's unexpected ascent. It's critical to review Deke Sharp's background and contributions. Deke didn't just happen to walk into Forrester Creations and ask for donations. He earned his position without relying on romance, sympathy, or unstable housing. Deke attended a school for design. He worked hard. He assembled a portfolio. He researched the art. Most significantly, he gained recognition without anyone being aware of his identity. People were clearly impressed when Deke anonymously submitted his sketches. Not impressed in a pleasant way. I was not impressed by "this has potential." Really impressed. Even before his name was mentioned, his designs were so distinctive that they were considered seriously. His future at Forrester Creations ought to have been guaranteed by that alone. That ought to have been gold in a field that is fixated on uniqueness. Did Deke lack experience? Of course. Did he have a tough exterior? Yes. Was mentoring still necessary for him? Naturally. However, every designer actually begins that way. Nobody comes out completely developed. Without coaching, teamwork, and time to develop, no one starts a legendary fashion career. But that didn't matter. Thomas returns, and Deke is suddenly disposable. Deke's destiny was set the instant Thomas Forrester declared his desire to return to Hope for the future. Deke's contribution was irrelevant. Hope's belief in him was irrelevant. The fact that he could have been used in other departments of the business didn't matter. It was evident that Thomas and Zen Forrester Dominguez did not want him. They maintained that without Deke, they could manage the line. They presented him as unnecessary. They turned him into a needless expenditure. And Steffy fully supported them. Hope Logan Spencer contended that Deke would undoubtedly have a place at Forrester Creations, if not on Hope for the future. It's a huge fashion house. Designers take turns. Teams grow and shrink. When leadership desires it, flexibility is present. However, Steffy stopped it. Her position was unwavering and firm. They couldn't defend having Deke on staff if they didn't need him. This concludes the conversation. Steffy's hard line. We don't pay people we don't need. Steffy's logic was presented as professional and practical at the time. She was acting responsibly, not cruelly. Budgets are important. Efficiency is important. Each role must have a purpose. Alright. If Steffy used that reasoning consistently, it would make sense. However, she doesn't. And that's where the issue starts. Let's fast forward to Dylan. No portfolio, no problem, no fashion training. Dylan is a creative person. There is no doubt about that. She is vocal, imaginative, and obviously emotionally complex. However, being creative does not equate to being prepared for the fashion industry, particularly at a major company like Forrester Creations. Despite Dylan's lack of formal fashion education, design school background, professional fashion portfolio, and shown industry experience, Steffi reacts entirely differently when Electra Forrester and Will Spencer approach her about aiding Dylan. All of a sudden, Steffi is flexible, supportive, open-minded, or willing to see what she can do. She consents to discuss hiring Dylan with Rich Forrester. She is eager to assist her. She doesn't seem to care if Dylan is needed, and the word needed completely vanishes. The budget objection. Where did it go? At this point, viewers begin to raise the obvious question. What was the source of the funds? There was no space when it was Deke. There is no budget. There is no explanation. However, when it's Dylan, flexibility appears out of nowhere. A discussion is taking place. A potential role exists. Forrester Creations did not become wealthy overnight. Between Dylan's arrival and Deke's dismissal, the company did not experience a spectacular budget expansion. What has changed then? Not the money. Not the requirements for staffing. Not the amount of work. The plot was altered. Merit versus plot convenience. Deke Sharp stood for development, talent, and career aspirations. The show would have had to engage in a slow-burn success story, mentorship, obstacles, advancement, and eventual payoff, in order to keep him at Forrester Creations. Dylan, meanwhile, is a symbol of disorder. From a soap opera writer's point of view, Dylan is more instantly helpful since she brings emotional tension, romantic issues, housing drama, Electra insecurity, a Will Spencer closeness, mystery around her identity. Although it clarifies Steffi's choice, it doesn't make logic. Is Steffi motivated by convenience or compassion? Steffi's acts are presented in the show as acts of charity. She wishes to assist someone in need. Dylan is having difficulties. She resides in her vehicle. She is susceptible. That's all true. However, inconsistency cannot be eliminated by kindness. When Deke lost his job, Steffi showed no empathy. When Hope begged for him, she was unyielding. She didn't care about his potential or future. Compassion suddenly becomes a decisive factor, but only when it aligns with the prevailing narrative. That's why the hypocrisy is so obvious. Would Deke have stayed somewhere else? Probably the most annoying part of the whole thing is this. Nobody was requesting that Deke remain on Hope for the future in defiance of Thomas's wishes. That power dynamic was even recognized by Hope. However, Forrester Creations is a huge company. Steffi eliminated the following options: junior design teams, experimental lines, intern to designer pathways, and creative development roles. However, Dylan, who contributes less directly to the fashion side, might accept a paid part just because the plot requires her to be inside the building. From a purely professional perspective, Dylan contributes less to Forrester Creations than Deke ever did, but he does provide more drama. She's not positioned as a designer. She doesn't offer validated fashion knowledge. She doesn't make a brand stronger. She does include personal turmoil, though. Her existence at Forrester maintains her intimate relationship with Will, makes Electra tense, fosters jealousy, causes miscommunication, makes room for future betrayals. That's soap logic, not business logic. Steffi as the face of contradiction. Steffi Forrester Finnegan is frequently portrayed as the astute, straightforward executive. She takes great satisfaction in making difficult choices and putting the needs of the business first. However, her behavior in this instance calls into question her credibility. She can't say, "We don't keep people we don't need," and then hire someone the business obviously doesn't need. She can't say, "There's no room in the budget," and then magically discover room when it's convenient. Viewers notice these things and they remember the true reason. Let's state the quiet part aloud. Deke has to be at Logan. At Logan, the bold and the beautiful needed Deke Sharp. A youthful, ambitious designer was needed by Katie Logan Spencer's fashion house. Deke required a new beginning. He had to quit Forrester Creations because of that plot. Steffi's reasoning is bent to match the outline because Forrester needs Dylan. Inside the building, near Electra, near Will, positioned as a disruption. Conclusion. Drama wins, logic loses. Is Steffi being unfair? Indeed. Is there inconsistency in the decision? Of course. Does it make sense from a business or character standpoint? Not at all. But from the standpoint of composing soap operas, does it make sense? Regretfully, yeah. More fashion-related surprises are anticipated, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Thus this discrepancy will probably be disregarded or excused in the past. It's another matter entirely whether or not viewers accept that rationale. Deke deserved better, that much is certain. Even if the program acts otherwise, Steffi's credibility suffered.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.